The light! Ugh.
Rest easy, Prince. The blindness will pass, eventually.
So, what am I missing? Tarlad can't have changed that much since our exile?
They don't call it Tarlad anymore. Blackbow is the name given to our old lands. It looks a little different, except for the human worms who claimed half. This is Imperial territory now.
Humans calling Tarlad their home. Silsai would be livid.
You, on the other hand, always had a soft spot for the race. At least the fairer half.
You know it wasn't like that. Besides, she's dead now. Show some respect.
Welcome back, ladies and gents, to another session of Might and Magic Hero 6, Shadows of Darkness. And we just got our good friend Prince Raelag out of the underground dungeon that he calls his home, and now in the outside world we've just got to get one step closer to securing the ashes of his dearly departed mother. But of course there are plenty of humans and other ne'er-do-wells to be clobbered along the way. Starting with these dress-wearing sisters who, once again, are under the mistaken impression that they have any chance of beating me. I don't even know why they try. They always lose. They have terrible attack, terrible defense, and yet they try. But they came with a little surprise this time, the upgraded version, which can heal a minuscule amount, which is still not going to help them at all, but hey, at least they're trying something new, so I'm going to go ahead and finish them off, and then we can move on to discussing the outside world. Alright, here we are again on the overhead map, and as you can see at the top, there are 4 different types of resources we have. Wood, metal, crystals, and gold, all of which are used for making buildings or units during most campaign missions where you control towns and the like, so there is some resource management elements here. But for this mission, we just control a small fixed group of units, so we won't really be using those resources. Now, this battle coming up, though, I'm just going to pause to mention it, this is probably the hardest battle so far, and if you're trying to get through this mission losing a minimal amount of units, or no units at all, this is going to be the cause of a lot of resets. Basically, these horsemen guys are very fast, hit very hard, and their upgraded forms have this ability that lets them turn into this mystical light creature that can travel through solid objects, which means that yeah, your range units are pretty much screwed unless you can deal an obscene amount of damage in very little time, which is basically what I'm going for here. I don't even bother with mass heroics, I just go straight into pressed attack. I just want to eliminate one of those horse stacks as fast as I possibly can. That's really the only chance I got. The other thing I do here is I try to abuse the fact that their turns are staggered. They don't go one after each other, I mean. So, you see that horse in front, I'm not actually going to hit the one closer to me, because I know the horse in back can't actually reach me. He's kind of stuck behind. And you'll see what I mean when his turn comes along. I'm basically using the horseman in front as a wall to block up the horseman in back. And then I'm going to start off by taking out the horseman in back, and then I'll move to the one in front. Yep, just use that sword ability. So now we're going to move up with our assassin and maybe do damage. What's going to happen? I guess not. Well, if you haven't recognized already, these videos are commentated after the fact, so I don't know, you can come along and mock some of the silly things I do with me, but we always manage to squeak by in the end, so it'll be alright. Alright, so here you can see that using that cloak ability also gives my whole party a small boost when that happens, which is nice, but I'm still mainly focusing on doing as much damage as possible. And there you saw another rarely used effect of the cloak, which is that if an enemy runs into you while you're cloaked, you instantly get to hit them. It's like a priority strike, but the danger with that is that they can retaliate, whereas with normal backstabs, enemies can't retaliate, which means that it should only be used if you intend for an enemy to die off when they get hit. Otherwise, you're gonna probably lose assassins, which is not an option, but somehow I managed to get through that fight without losing units, so we're gonna keep on our merry way and stop by the stables first, get a little gold, get a little bonus to move, I think it is, and normally I'd be doing this earth elemental fight, but actually I remember at this point that there's another conversation you can have that ends with you getting some more units, so we're going to be watching.
Iris, where is your company? Experienced scouts would come in handy right now.
I divided them into 3 groups, sent them on reconnaissance missions. Under Molassa's shadow, our paths will cross, and they'll join our ranks.
Alright, so you can see how friendly units, they appear on the map just like enemy units, and you can just talk to them, recruit them, simple as that. There are other units in the game even that they want to be hired for you to recruit them, and others that you have the choice between recruiting or attacking. Basically, you want to get whatever units you can, whenever possible. But with those extra stalkers, we have a little easier time taking out units with their ranged attacks, which is always nice. Makes our assassin's job just that much easier. I'm still going to keep them in stacks of 2 just because I want to keep getting those extra movement reduction effects down, keep boosting that cloak meter as fast as possible. And this is going to be pretty easy since we're just up against 1 stack of earth elementals. This is one of those cases where bigger stacks aren't always better because he still has that petrification ability, but he can only petrify 1 guy per turn, which isn't going to help since I have 4 stacks of units. But yeah, just doing the usual, trying to debuff them, batter them down slowly. Then I'm going to do a pressing attack and just try to chip away at it, try to finish it off with my backstab if possible. I might be able to kill it this turn, I don't know. Yeah, those assassins. They're a little game breaking, I think, but you pretty much need it considering how many enemies you have to beat with this minuscule amount of units. Now these guys I'm going to be fighting up next. They're probably the hardest enemies to deal with in this entire mission if you're trying to get through it without losing units. because they tend to go in multiple stacks and they hit really hard. They not only hit one unit at range, they hit every single unit on your side of the map, so there's basically no way to avoid taking a lot of damage. You just can't kill them fast enough to prevent them from dealing a huge amount of damage. So what I'm going to be having my assassins do is just try to eliminate 2 of them as fast as possible, and hopefully I'll be able to do some pressing attacks after that point to quickly get rid of the last guy before I lose my stack. But if I can't do that, I have a spell that lets me drain health. Basically, it's not even a spell that I got in my abilities at the beginning of this mission. It's just an artifact that I picked up along the way. So I try to avoid using those artifacts except in like emergency situations, but given by the amount of resets I did on this mission, I think that's pretty much qualifies. But yeah, you can see that attack he just did. He's blasting me. It hurts. I love those close-ups they do. They give those close-ups whenever you get like a lucky strike, which gives you a little damage boost over what you normally do. But you can actually zoom in the battlefield, which I start doing more later, but if you wanted to see close-up all the time, you can do that. See there, I just used a life drain spell, because I really want to end this battle with 25 assassins. I don't want to have less than that. It's just going to go downhill from there. Alright, let's pick up our congratulatory gold and crystal. And even more enemies to beat up. That sounds like fun. One thing I didn't cover, which is also on the overhead map, is the time system in this game. Basically, you have a certain amount of movement spaces you're allowed to move each turn, and each turn represents a day in real time. So there are certain effects, for instance, which only last a week. And every time I press the hourglass button in the lower right-hand corner on the overhead map, that makes a day pass. So you want to try to be careful if you're getting effects at like the end of the week, because the monster you plan on fighting, well, you may lose those effects by that point. And it's much more important in maps where there are buildings and such, because enemies in those maps also move around the map. They don't just stand in place, and they'll often try to take back buildings or whatever that you capture, and you don't want that to happen. So it means a lot more on other maps than this, but it's definitely something to pay attention to. Different weeks also have different effects. Like some weeks you may get less experience, some weeks you may be more likely to find treasure or something. So you want to try to keep attention to what week it is, what's going on. I seriously doubt that Raelag is paying attention to any of this, but I'm his invisible spirit guide. I'll just pretend to be the grumpy ghost Sorshan or something, telling him what to do, because apparently he's crazy enough to try to take on thousands of these holy soldiers with his little ragtag group. I don't know what in the world they were doing making him prince if he thinks this was a good idea. No wonder they kicked him out, trying to go after these guys with this minuscule party, but we're managing, we're gonna survive despite his poor decision making. I love that laugh. I like a lot of the sound effects in this game. Like, the graphics aren't like super duper amazing, but they're good enough, and the sound effects really make it give it a lot of personality. Especially the animations are really nice too. Some of the animations are a little goofy, but they have some cool like victory poses. I'm not gonna make any sort of like overall judgment on the game until I'm totally finished with it, but so far I'm liking it a lot more than many of the other games I've picked up on Steam, so whether you like it or not is for you to decide, but the Might and Magic Heroes series has been around long enough that there's a lot of different games to try out there, a lot of different experiences to enjoy. And there we go, taking down some sentinels and their bigger brothers. We're going to go to another armor smith, get an upgrade, and we're going to move on to the next set of bad guys we're going to kill. Now you can see in the lower left there's a mini-map, and above that you can see a building called an arena. That is actually going to be our last destination on this video. When you go to an arena, then you actually get put in this really large-scale battle against a whole group of different enemies, and any units of yours that die during an arena fight don't count as being actually dead. You get them back at the end of the battle. It's basically like a practice Coliseum fight. So you can be a little more relentless in your attack style, take a little more risks, but if you do win, you get a cool bonus of your choice. You also get some points for your reputation, which is steadily going up for me. I also didn't mention this, but another reason I want to raise my reputation is because there's a quest that you get right from the start to either go up a rank in blood or tears, and so you go up a rank just by repeatedly getting those reputation points over and over, you know, doing abilities, doing actions in game. So I'm trying to finish that quest by the end of the mission. Hopefully I will. And here's some more sentinels we're going to be beating up. See, the thing is, if I was not busy saving all these units earlier on, these battles would have been a heck of a lot more difficult, just because the enemies continually get stronger and your guys do not. So the only way you can keep up is if you save everything and make the most out of the reinforcements you get. But, you know, if you're on the ball, trying to get as many upgrades as you can, trying to make sure that you're getting the most out of your units, then you shouldn't have a problem doing this. I really like that whatever dragon-like steed that Raelag's using, and I wish we could get some units like that in game, so I'm hoping. If there are, I haven't seen them yet, but hopefully we will soon. Use the usual pressed attack, you know, blow away those footmen. I got their Warcraft 2 Scottish voice in my head now. Is it Scottish? I think it's Scottish. They all sound Scottish in Warcraft 2, all the units. I don't even know what they're supposed to be, but anyway, let's go blow away more bad guys with our laser beams. Purple lasers, frisbees, and I don't know, magical fun time disco swords, whatever the hell that assassin's using, something cool and weird. Night elves love purple, apparently. That's like a thing. Every single night elf I've ever seen, they always wear purple. Just like, I don't know, man. I guess, you know, if you were trying to adapt to the dark, wouldn't your skin, like, turn a shade of black or something? Where does the purple come in? You know, caves don't normally turn purple. I'm pretty sure the elves above ground, they're not purple skinned, so I don't know where the purple comes in. Maybe that's just something. I don't think that's from Tolkien. I know it was in Warcraft 3. I don't really know any other examples of like night elves or dark elves though. Maybe there are other ones. I'd have to look up like Dungeons and Dragons books or something on that. Alright, so we're gonna try to finish off these wolves here. Captain Grapefruit's gonna be leading his forces to victory. And time for another backstab, of course. I guess not, just gonna cloak. I love that laser beam. Guys using that, the lurkers right. They remind me of the Shumagorath guy, you know, from the comics, and Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Except, of course, he's purple. I think that's what they were going for, really. But, yeah. At this point, it's just a matter of, finishing off the last group of bad guys and going through the arena. Gonna be smacking around these sisters. Does this count as, like, domestic abuse? Or, like, a different race or something? I don't know. Yeah. I think this Holy Empire is a bunch of sissies if they're sending in a bunch of unarmored women, you know, to try to do most of their dirty work. I mean, really? They can't spare any more soldiers, but this is what they got? Okay. Yep. This is another example of where having more stacks is a bad idea. Unlike the Earth Elementals, these sisters really need to one giant stack to have any chance of dealing any damage at all. You can see I'm just tearing through them even with my ranged attacks only buffed by mass heroics. Even without pressing attack, I'm still doing a lot of damage. And here I'm just gonna try doing as much as I can with backstab. Hope to take out a stack, that would be great. Wham. I just imagine like 25 of them just popping out of nowhere all at once, you know. All of them simultaneously slapping some enemy to death. I mean, that's gotta be really carefully choreographed. I mean, 25 assassins. Wow, how do you cloak all of them? There you go, one more down. Did my laser beam guy kill him? Guess not, but she's pretty close to dead anyway, this will be easy. Okay, assassin dude, you do the finishing blow. Wham. Another cool artifact, and we're gonna go off to the arena now. And like I said before, if units die in the arena, they're not permanently lost, so you can afford to be a little risky there, a little more aggressive with your units, but you still don't want to be too reckless, or you risk losing everything, which of course, you know, that's pretty much game over. But well, actually, I've never lost in the arena, so I don't know what happens if you lose everything. It's not. These battles are pretty easy to win, but yeah. Once you finish, you do get a bonus of your choice, which is pretty nice, and get some reputation points, which of course I want for later quests. But you can see here that the enemies have different types of units this time. They have the teleporters, the wolves, and Earth Elementals. So I gotta try to prioritize my targets as best I can. You can see here that he actually paralyzed my assassins, which would suck, except for the fact that I'm not too worried if I lose a few, because it's an arena mission. But, yeah, next video, we're going to be heading